Hey YouTube, welcome to my shop. I'm Mike Hedden and this is Round 2 Woodworks. I've been fighting a cold. Well, actually, the cold fought me and won, and now I fought the cold and I'm winning. But I've been so bored locked up in the house watching TV and the computer that I had to get out here in the shop and do something. So I thought I would build a few jigs that I wanted to improve the performance of my table saw with. One will be a panel cutting. I've already made a sled for it, which I really like, crosscut sled. But there's some pieces of wood that are just a little big to go in there, so I want to make just a real simple panel cutting sled, and I want to make a spacer, a fence spacer, so when I'm doing a dado or something, I can be a certain amount of a certain set measurement away from the blade. So I think I'm going to get on those right now and see how those come out, and if you want to hang around and see what happens with them, you sure are welcome to. We'll get sawing, and that'll be the first thing, cutting the stock. I'm going to use for the spacer, I'm going to use 1/2 inch plywood, and I'm going to use an inch stock. It's an actual inch, so it'll be away from my fence an inch. So all I got to do is subtract it from the tape measure on my Bessemeyer. So anyway, let's get on it. We'll see where it goes from there. Okay. First thing we got to do is start out with very accurate measurements. Now, for the panel sled, the panel is going to be 18 inches by about, let's say, 33 inches, 18 by 33 inches, and then I will have a miter strip that goes in the slot there, and we'll need to measure that. So set this at 0. That is 0.38. 0.38 deep. Now I got to use a chart. 0.38, 0.39. Okay, 0.375, and I got 0.38, so that's 3/8 of an inch. So I've got to make the miter 3/8 by 0.749, which is 0.745 actually. So that's 3/4 of an inch in anybody's book, and then I can sand it or something to get it tight enough. So 3/8 by 3/4, and then I've got the 18 by 33 for the panel. Now then, that is right there. At 2. Yeah. I'm going to go 2.5. I want a better measurement. Hang on. I don't think this has to be all that. .51, so 2.5. So the height of the fence is 2. 1/2. The distance between the fence. It's dead on 4. So I'm going to have an inch here and a 1/2 inch over there. So that's 4, 5.5 inches, and I think I'll give a 1/4 inch play. 5, 3/4 inches on the one piece, 2.5 on that. Got all the measurements. Now we can start the fun stuff of cutting and building. Okay, while my gardeners were here, I cut the height. Now this is actually an actual inch thick, the stock, so I can make sure that if, you know, I can just subtract an inch from the table measurement, and that'll make it easier. So, and then I've got the back side. Now I've got to cut 5 3/4 inches. And one thing about a good table saw, I mean, if it's set up right, I've got this right on 5 3/4. Now this goes down to like a 32nd, I think. You know, if I had a magnifying glass, I could tell you the 30. I know it goes down to the 16th, and then I believe there's a 32nd in between. So one thing nice about a good table saw is when you put it on 5 3/4, that sucker's gonna cut 5 3/4. Let me macro this for you. Right at 5 3/4, not a 16th over or a 16th under, right on. And that's what a good table saw does. Okay. Now it's ready to cut the length, which is 5 7/8. I use this hand screw as a stop. Good. Let's glue it and nail it. silence is golden. Should work. And I will put the T-bolt in there and for it tightening down, and that should work real good. Okay, I was getting ready to start staining this. I'd sanded everything, getting ready to put a stain on it, and I put my midget toy on there just to double check, and it wasn't straight. Now the miter here and this cut is exactly square to each other. So this fence has to be square to here. I put my midget toy on there. Now it only goes out 12 inches, but I knew in 12 inches it was away from this fence. So I put a big framing square on there, and it's way off. Let me show you what double checking will do for you. Let me macro this. I think you can see that that's a good 30-second off. So I've got to redo this fence right now before I go any farther. Yeah, that would have been disastrous. Totally disastrous if I would have continued building a crooked sled. But remember, if you ever have to do your sled, redo the holes, the screws. Don't use the same screw holes, or you'll be asking for trouble. Beautiful.
Craft event. It's huge. We're celebrating the heck out of craft wine, and you'll love our great selection. Full, medium, or light body. If it's out there, we got it. Discover the Charles & Charles Chardonnay. It's one tasty tongue twister. Or Frank Family Chardonnay. A lush, fruity flavor welcomed at any dinner party. Except the Franks.
Smartphone lines with 6 gigabytes of shareable data for just $100 a month with Verizon Edge. Additional lines are just $15 a month each. With Edge, qualified customers can get all the latest high-tech smartphones for no
This is celebrating our 50th anniversary. Join us for exciting new menus, festival celebrations, and experiences on board and ashore, inspired by the Discovery Network shows you love. Plan your 3-day cruise leaving Los Angeles now from just $199. Call your travel consultant, 1-800-PRINCESS, or visit princess.com. Terms and restrictions apply. Ships of British and Bermuda registered.
Okay, a new morning, and I'm feeling much better. I think my cold is waving its last goodbyes to me, which good riddance. So anyway, yesterday I came out, and I'm glad I got to work on the panel sled and the fence spacers. So I've got them all done. I put quick coat of shellac on both of them this morning, so they're ready to be used. Now the sled is I really like the sled, no doubt about it, but there's sometimes, now this is the biggest panel I have, but sometimes there's things that are bigger than the sled can handle. So off of the New Yankee Workshop, one of Norm's old jig shows. I built a very simple panel sled. Let me show you how that operates. It's very simple, just a piece of plywood, a fence that you saw me put on and readjust. It seems like that there's never enough time to do it once, but always enough time to do it twice. But this is what the panel saw is, and when you do have a bigger panel, you know, up to like 4 feet, you can just put it on there and zing it through. So this jig's, it's just unwieldy. It's got this big long thing on, but that helps because the bigger the panel, you've got something to reference. So I'm going to store it over in my my Wood Whisperer storage bin. I can show you how that works. Well, since this panel sled is kind of unwieldy due to the big miter, I thought I'd keep it in my storage, my Wood Whisperer stock bin. I really like this thing, so yeah, it's kind of unwieldy, so I'm going to have to keep it over here. Let me show you how this thing works. Okay, now that we got the panel sled put to bed, I'll show you the spacer. Now this stock is exactly an inch. I mean exactly an inch. I sanded it down. It was just a titch over. And then I put, you know, put a Forstner bit in and then glued a little bolt in, or excuse me, a nut in there to handle this screw knob. So what this does is it will go right over the fence. Right over the fence, lock it down so it doesn't move. Then if you're going to make a cut, you can make it without it pinching. So right now this is right on 5 inches. This, if I was right here, that cut would be 5 inches exactly. But you know, you wouldn't want to do that because it might pinch in there and give a severe kickback. So there's another inch. You line it up there and zing it right on through. I've wanted one of these several times, but you know, 3/4 of an inch stock and stuff like that, it's just you gotta think too much. Where an inch, if you want it 4 inches, you put 5 inches up here, you know, so that will do your 4. So I guess that's it for my 2 quick jigs. I think I'm going to be able to put into good use. So anyway, I appreciate you stopping by YouTube. I really do. And until next time, I hope all is well and y'all take care of yourself. Thanks again.